Hello and welcome to video notes 2. So today we are still talking about correlation, but we have a new vocab word that we're going to talk about here called causation, which will make sense in just a second. So let's first review correlation. So what we said in video 1 is that correlation is a pattern or relationship between two things. So things can have a negative correlation, they can have a positive correlation, or they can have no correlation. So in this video, it's going to make a little bit more sense because we're going to tie some more real life applications to these math words. So with correlation, what we're going to do first is compare ice cream sales with bathing suit sales. So if I was bored and I was selling ice cream in the summer, then I would want to see how my sales are increasing. Well, if I were to also compare bathing suit sales, what I would find is that as ice cream sales increase, so the more ice cream I sell, the more bathing suits that are also sold. So the more ice cream that is selling, the more bathing suits are also selling. That's a correlation. That is a real life pattern. If you were to go and pull data from actual numbers, when we're selling ice cream, we're also selling bathing suits. So this is a correlation. It's a pattern. What type of correlation is this? This is a positive correlation. Okay, it's positive because it's increasing. So if I were to sell 10 ice cream cones, then at the same time, there is likely also 10 bathing suits that are sold. So the more ice cream that's sold, the more bathing suits that are also sold. Okay, this has a positive correlation, it has a positive pattern. It's two things, two different variables, but they are related. So we could say that the more ice cream that's sold, there's also more bathing suits that are sold. So the reason why this is true is that it's not because of this thing called causation. So the question is, does one thing cause the other to happen? So does me selling ice cream cause more bathing suits to be sold? No. Ice cream does not cause us to go to the store and buy a bathing suit. But the reason why there's a positive correlation is because when do people buy ice cream? Usually in the summer. When do people buy bathing suits? Usually in the summer. So the more ice cream that's being sold, the more bathing suits are also being sold because they're being sold at the same time. Okay, so they're correlated. There's a pattern between them. They're both increasing during the summer, so they have a correlation. But buying ice cream doesn't cause me to go out and buy a bathing suit. So it does not have causation, but it does have correlation. It's related. They're two variables that are related. During the summer, we buy more ice cream and people buy more bathing suits. So there is a pattern between the two variables. So it does have correlation, a positive one. The sales are going up at the same time, but it does not have causation. Okay? So let's look at another example here. So if we are looking at rain and the water level in a lake. So this is my very pretty lake, don't judge me. So the rain here and the water level in the lake. So what happens is that the more that it's raining, so the more rain that we get, the more the lake water level fills up. So if we don't have a lot of rain, the water level in the lake is not very much. But the more rain, as rain increases, as this x-axis is increasing, my lake water level is also increasing. So this has a correlation. This is a positive correlation. It's going up. It's positive. So there is correlation here because there's a pattern. As it rains, the lake water is increasing. But this also has this thing called causation. So in statistics, people always want to know if one thing is causing the other thing. So in this situation, absolutely, the more rain that we get means that the more water that is going to be in our lake. So the rain is causing our water level to increase in the lake. So causation, yes, it's correlation, it's correlated, But if it has causation, then that's what's even more important here. So causation happens when one thing causes the other thing to happen. So when we go back to our ice cream sales and our bathing suit sales, ice cream didn't cause people to buy bathing suits. There was a pattern, it was correlated. As ice cream sales increase, bathing suit sales also increase. So yeah, there's absolutely a pattern between them. But ice cream does not cause bathing suits to be sold. Where in this situation, scientifically, the more rain that comes to the ground means that there's going to be more water in our lake. So this has causation. So what you're going to do today is very easy. So you're going to find your notebook paper and you're going to write down whether this situation has causation, whether it caused it to happen, or if it's just a correlation. It's a pattern. There's a pattern that happens. Or is it something that actually causes the other thing to happen? So as always, I'll work through the odds with you, and then you'll try the evens on your own. So on your paper, you're going to do numbers 1 through 10. So video notes 2, I need numbers 1 through 10. Okay, let's start with number 1. Number 1 says, a table shows the number of hours spent on Facebook based on the person's age. So I'm just going to draw a little graph of this that makes sense. So if we have someone's age down here and the number of hours they spend on Facebook, what a lot of people would say is that the older you are, the more time you spend on Facebook. You're not going to see a 10-year-old on Facebook for a long time. So this is a 10-year-old. They're not going to spend a lot of time on Facebook. But a 70-year-old or a 60-year-old, sure, they're going to spend more time on Facebook. So there's a pattern there. But is there causation? Does your age cause you to be on Facebook? Does Facebook cause someone's age? No, this is not causation. Facebook doesn't cause someone to have a certain age, but there is a pattern here. So this is called correlation. Okay, Facebook does not cause a person to age, so that's not causation, just correlation. Number 2, when schools have vending machines with sugary sodas, obesity increases. There's definitely a pattern there. So is that causation or is it just a pattern? So does sugary sodas cause people to become obese? Causation or correlation? Okay, try number 2. Number 3, very similar to what we just did. When it rains several inches, the water of a lake increases. Does the rain cause the lake to increase? Yes, absolutely. That has causation because the rain is causing the lake to increase. That is absolutely causation. Number 4, when people get more sleep, their grades increase. Does sleep cause people's grades to increase? Can someone get a lot of sleep but still have bad grades? So if it doesn't happen 100% of the time, it's not causation. So does getting sleep cause you to have good grades? I can tell you right now that there's a lot of students that are getting a lot of sleep in these 4 weeks, but that doesn't mean their grades are increasing. So is it just a pattern or is it causation? Okay, number 5. When ice cream sales increase, incidence of sunburn increases. This is similar to our example earlier. Does ice cream sales cause people to get sunburn? No, ice cream doesn't cause sunburn. That's not causation. That's going to be a correlation. There's a pattern. Sure, the more ice cream that gets sold, the more sunburns that there are. There's a pattern between the two. But one thing does not cause the other thing. So it's just a pattern. It's just a correlation. 3 is causation. 1 is correlation. Okay? Number 6. When people smoke cigarettes, they have an increased risk of lung cancer. Is that causation? Does smoking cigarettes cause an increased risk of getting lung cancer? Causation or just a pattern? Does one thing cause the other to happen? Okay, a couple more. Number 7. When people take vitamin C, they get sick less often. So does vitamin C cause people to get less sick? Absolutely. That's called causation. Vitamin C, you're taking it, so it's going to cause you to become less sick. You're not sick as often when you take vitamin C. So that's causation. Number 8, when school ends, bathing suit sales increase. Does one thing cause the other thing to happen, or is it just a pattern? Just because school's over, is everyone going out and buying a bathing suit? Causation, or is it just a pattern, a correlation? Number 9, when you have a lot of YouTube subscribers, when people have a lot of YouTube subscribers, they get less sleep. So does YouTube cause you to sleep less? No. Someone can have a lot of YouTube subscribers, but they could get 12 hours of sleep a night. So there's a pattern that usually happens. People that are on YouTube a lot usually get less sleep, but it doesn't cause the other thing 100% of the time. Last one, number 10. People that have dogs live longer lives. Do dogs cause you to live longer? Is that a causation? Does it cause it to happen? Or is it just a correlation? Okay, so that's numbers 1 through 10, not too bad at all. So if you're a little confused on causation, the way that we like to think about it is, does it happen 100% of the time? So does it happen all the time? That would be causation. So is there a risk 100% of the time? Sure, causation. So that's one way to think of that there. So causation means one thing causes the other to happen. Correlation just means there's a pattern between the two variables. Okay, so numbers 1 through 10. If you are confused by any of this chapter is a little different because there's a lot of words here. So if any of this confuses you, just email your teacher and you can set up a Zoom time and they will happily help you get through numbers 1 through 10. Okay, so that concludes our video notes for we are on week 5. So video notes 2, that concludes the end of this. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to your teacher and they will happily help you get through the rest of this unit. So just video notes 1 and video notes 2, submit for this week and you are done for week 5. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next week.